Today we are going to discuss about the same chapter number 5, kinds of materials. This is the module 3 discussion, and the learning objectives of today's discussions are: number 1, solubility. With this respect, we have to know the meaning of solute, solvent, and solution. We can divide any kind of solution into two broad categories, such as miscible solution and the immiscible solution. We have to deal with the different example of miscible and as well as at the same time immiscible type of solution. The solubility of different gases in water. These are the two examples of miscible and the immiscible type of solution. We have to know the meaning of suspension. Another physical property of the material or any matter is the conduction of heat as well as the conduction of electricity. In this case, we are going to learn about which material or which matter or which metal are responsible for the conduction of heat as well as the conduction of electricity. And we can easily divide different types of materials into different groups depending on their physical properties, such as living things, non-living things. Up to this we are going to learn today. This is the last discussion of this chapter. First, I would like to start with the three important terms which are correlated with the term solution of the matter. Solute. Solute is may be considered as any substance or any matter which is soluble in any liquid. Whereas the meaning of solvent is, it is said to be any liquid in which the solute goes into that solution or the solute becomes dissolved in that liquid. Solvent is the liquid in which any solute gets dissolved. Clear? Example is the universal solvent is water. The solution may be homogeneous or the heterogeneous mixture of both the solute and the solvent. I repeat, what is solution? Solution may be the homogeneous or the heterogeneous mixture of both the solute and the solvent. And they may be either the transparent or the translucent or the opaque. Sorry. Now, solubility. This solubility, what is the meaning of solubility? Or dissolve. In another word, we can say solubility is the dissolvability of any matter or any solid material in the solution, in the liquid. That means solubility or dissolvability is related to the liquid. Generally, we can divide all kinds of solids into two categories: soluble solids and the insoluble solids. Soluble solids are those solids which are dissolvable in the water, and after dissolving in the water, they produce either the homogeneous type of solution or the heterogeneous type of solution. And the appearance of that solution may be the translucent, transparent, or the opaque. The soluble matters are those solid matters which get dissolved in water, generally are said to be the solubles in water. But insolubles are those solid materials or matter which do not get dissolved in the water. That's why they are said to be the insoluble in the water. And as I mentioned earlier, solution is either the homogeneous or the heterogeneous mixture of either of both the solute and the solvent. Once again, I repeat, all kind of solid matters may be divided into two groups, such as soluble matter and the insoluble matter. Soluble matters are those matter which get dissolved in the water or in the solution in the water to produce the solution. And solution may be the transparent, translucent, and the opaque. Clear? And another type of is the insoluble matter. They don't get dissolved in the water. Now, what is the example of soluble matter in the water, such as sugar, salt? These are the example of solid matter which easily get dissolved in the water. But insoluble example of the insoluble matter are such as sand, wax, sulfur, oil, wood, metals, etc. These are the example of insoluble matter. But always remember that wax, although it is the solid insoluble matter in respect to water, but wax is soluble in the kerosene. Mind it. Wax is not soluble in water, but wax is soluble in the kerosene. Once again, we can divide all kind of liquids into two categories: miscible and the immiscible. Miscible liquids are mainly those liquids which get mixed with each other. I repeat, miscible liquids are those liquids which get mixed with each other. For example, glycerin and the water. These are the two liquids which are miscible. As well as similarly, we can say vinegar, alcohol, and the honey are miscible with each other. The opposite immiscibility is the situation of two liquids where or in which these two liquids are don't get dissolved with each other. Example: any vegetable oil in respect to water, we can say both are the immiscible solution. Because after placing the oil on the water, the oil don't get dissolved in that water, and then the oil floats on the water, because the oil becomes lighter. Clear? We can also consider the another example of immiscibility, such as the chalk. If we add the chalk to water, then we will get the suspension, because the chalk does not get dissolved in the water, and the chalk, as it is not dissolved in the water, it produces not the solution but the suspension. Now, what is the meaning of suspension? Suspension mainly is the heterogeneous mixture where the solute do not dissolve, but the solute is dispersed or settled down at the bottom, or we can say suspended. Once again I repeat, suspension is the heterogeneous mixture in which the solute is or any solutes are dispersed, but they are not totally dissolved. They are settled down, or we can say suspended at the bottom of the mixture. Clear? But solution is the homogeneous mixture, but suspension is the heterogeneous mixture. This is the main difference between suspension and the solution. In the suspension, solutes are not dissolved, they only get dispersed or suspended or settled down at the bottom. But in the case of solution, the solutes not only dispersed but also they are also dissolved fully or totally in the mixture. That's why we can say the chalk in respect to water is the example of immiscibility, or they are known as the immiscible in respect to each other. We can take this example also. This is the example of the miscibility of the two solution, two liquid, such as the water and the milk. The milk generally gets uniformly dispersed in the water, not only dispersed in the water, but also the milk gets dissolved fully or totally in the water. That's why it produces the solution, the homogeneous solution, and this solution may be known as the milky suspension, and it is the not the transparent but the translucent homogeneous mixture. Hence we can say the mixture of water and the milk is the example of miscible solution. It should also be noted that although oil in respect to water is not miscible, but oils are miscible with other with on another or in respect to other oil. I repeat, oils although are not miscible in water or in respect to water, they are not miscible, but oils are miscible in respect to other types of oil, such as mustard oil is also mustard oil is miscible with the ground nut oil, or we can say the coconut oil. And similarly, we can also mention that kerosene, although is not miscible in respect to water, but kerosene is miscible in respect to the petrol. Don't forget this one. Now, the solubility of gases. It is universally acclaimed that the different gases of air, as we know, air is a mixture of different gases such as nitrogen, oxygen, carbon dioxide. These are the gases which are not mixed in water, such as carbon dioxide. If I say nitrogen is not soluble in water, but oxygen and carbon dioxide, these are the two gases which are partially soluble in water. Mind it, nitrogen, oxygen and carbon dioxide, these are the three different gases of the mixture of air, because air is treated as the mixture of gases such as nitrogen, oxygen and carbon dioxide. And we can say nitrogen is the gas of the air mixture which is not soluble in water, whereas oxygen and carbon dioxide, they are the gases which are partially soluble in water. And due to this partially solubility of carbon dioxide and oxygen in the water, oxygen in water helps the watery animals in breathing, and the carbon dioxide in water helps the watery plants in photosynthesis. Now, what is the importance of carbon dioxide in terms of such as the different types of soda water or soft drinks? We know that on opening the bottle of such kind of soft drinks, the bubbles generally come out. The reason is the presence of the carbon dioxide in that soft drink. Clear? Now, about the methane. Methane is odorless and the colorless gas. It has no particular type of odor. It is odorless, but methane becomes odorful when it is mixed up with the different chemical. Clear? In order to avoid the accident. In order to avoid the accident. I once again repeat, methane is the odorless and the colorless gas, but methane is mixed up with a chemical in order to avoid the accident, so that it produce a particular type of smell. While it is being used as a fuel. And always remember that methane is the gas which is not soluble in water, and therefore it comes out into the air. It is lighter than the air. The another feature of the matter is the conduction of heat. First we have to know what is the meaning of conductor. Conductor are mainly those materials, or we can say the metals, which are which allow the heat to flow or pass through them. Once again I repeat, conductors are those materials, or we can say the metals, which allow the heat to pass or to flow through them. Now we can divide all kind of conductors of heat into two categories: good conductor of heat and the bad conductor of heat. Now what are the examples of good conductor of heat? Such as any metal is considered as the good conductor of heat. Clear? But what are the example of bad conductor of heat? Such as we can say such as wood, such as plastic. And this bad conductor of heat, plastic and wood, these are the materials which are used for making the handles of the cookware to save the hands from the heat. And as I mentioned earlier, metals are the good conductor of heat, and that's why the metals are used to make the cooking utensils. And bad conductors of heat are also known as the poor conductors of heat as well as. And now the case of conductors of electricity. Conductors of electricity are those materials through which electric current generally pass. And we divide them into two groups, such as bad conductor of electricity and the good conductor of electricity. Now remember this one: the bad conductors of electricity are known as the insulator. Insulators are mainly the poor or the bad conductor of electricity, and we can give the example of the insulator, such as rubber, plastic. These are the example of the insulator or the bad conductor of electricity. Now for the case of good conductor of electricity, the examples are copper. Metals, mainly the metals are the good conductor of electricity: copper, brass, gold, steel, aluminum, etc. And liquid conductor of electricity is mercury. Mercury is known as the liquid conductor of electricity. Now we can easily group different types of materials into various categories, such as depending on their common properties, depending on their appearance, depending on the origin of the material, and depending on their usability. These are the few groups of these materials, such as We can broadly divide all kind of materials into two groups: living materials and the non-living. Such as living examples are plants and animals, and non-living are natural and the man-made. Clear? Natural things such as river, mountain, and man-made, such as we can say the bridge, the bus. Clear? These are the examples. We can also group the matters based on the origin of the matter, such as those materials which generally come from plant sources, such as grains, seeds, fruits, vegetables, wood, fiber. These are the plant source or plant based material, as well as the example of the animal based materials, such as milk, eggs, meat, leather, fiber, etc. And there are also the earth based materials, such as minerals, metals, ceramics, marble, glassware, goods, etc. Thanks for watching. In our next video, I'll teach you the new chapter.